Can
Yeah,
you hear
yeah,
me?
yeah. I
Yeah.
can hear you good.
So I was that explanation is good, but I was also asking sometimes the high before the UT actually breaks structure, but then it comes back up and breaks structure again, and that's when you get the UT.
Wait, okay. Show me what you mean by that. What do you mean? So the high
Or
before, so the
yeah. So
high
you see
before.
this high that high rate there would break structure, meaning it would break the low before that. So that let's say
Let me delete all
that
of this.
area of supply would break structure to the downside.
So let me get rid of all of this stuff so I can zoom in nicely
Yeah.
for you. So so this is what you're saying. This you're saying, and let me make it like not blue. That is a bit annoying. Okay. So
So
tell me what area we're talking about. So this is our primary supply, bias
yeah.
climax, secondary test. This is our UT. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, so that candle would actually break structure to the downside. So
So you're
from
saying
right there, sometimes
then
it'll break down and then I'll enter a limit there and then I'll get stopped out and then price will go my way. See
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. This is okay. So this is what you're saying. You're saying the market will do something like this: form your bias climax, retrace whatever, or primary supply.
Yeah,
Come and form your bias climax. Do your secondary test. Form that UT, but then break structure to the downside,
yeah, and
right?
then stop.
So what you will do is set limits. Where do you set your limits? Because if you set limits up here with your stop loss
Yeah,
maybe above here to give it a bit of breathing room, you should be
yeah.
good, right? So
Okay,
what I would suggest you do is in that case, let me just mute everyone and then I'll unmute you again because we do have loads of people that are now unmuted. So me, I will unmute you now. So let me just unmute you.
hmm,
Oh yeah, you are already unmuted. Okay, great.
yeah,
But basically, this is what I suggest you do. In that scenario, what you need to understand is that we are in a type one Wyckoff distribution schematic, right? In a type one, I mean a type two Wyckoff distribution schematic. In a type two Wyckoff distribution schematic, there is no U-tide, and therefore the UT will break structure to the downside. And
yeah.
therefore, you need to get entries from your UT and not your U-tide. Doesn't necessarily need to form a U-tide for you to get entries, right? So that's what we're expecting, and that's how we want to enter the market. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. I
So
guess I just
that's
gotta be better with my patience because
yeah,
sometimes
yeah. Patience, yeah, yeah,
I just see it. Say I draw out the POI from, you know, the 1 hour, the 30 minute. I'll refine it to like the 15, and then once it enters, I'm looking for sells, and then for example,
yeah, yeah,
it just seems like an accumulation when it's really not, you know. And then
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's my issue now. But you know, I guess I gotta just gotta keep patient and keep practicing and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, never. This is another thing that I've noticed with a lot of smart money traders. They will sacrifice their trade for a good risk reward. Don't do that. If you only get a 1 to 3, who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're catching a 200 pip move, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. So, for example, you did something like this. Say you entered all the way down here when the market breaks structure for that UT, and your stop loss goes all the way up here. Say you're targeting all the way down here because you're trying to catch that swing move all the way down, you're still gonna get you a massive 1 to, you know, I don't even know what it is, but like a massive trade, right? Is the point. You don't
yeah,
necessarily need to get a high risk reward every single time. High risk rewards are nice, but they're not necessary. And that's what I've noticed, and that's what I've come to understand. That's what I think has made me, a pretty good trader. I'd like to think. So yeah,
yeah.
that's patience number one, and don't sacrifice your trade for high risk reward. We now have a lot of questions coming in. Najhe asks, could you go through Euro USD and Euro JPY? Of course, we'll do that. Emily says, please, can you go over structure in this call? I get confused when, for example, the 1 hour or 4 hours making higher highs and higher lows, but people are looking to sell. I'll go through that. Bitcoin, yeah, I don't trade Bitcoin. Bitcoin is too volatile. I can't even, I'm not even gonna look at the chart. It's too volatile for me. Dan says, can you go over a list of FX pairs and see if there's anything we should be looking to see? Okay, I'll do that as well. So Euro JPY and Euro USD. First of all, let me just start with Emily's question since that's like an educational topic. So Emily is asking, say for example on the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame, on those higher time frames, on those intraday time frames, we are forming very clear high highs and high lows, right? But people are still looking to sell the market. Why is that, right? The reason for that could be, and in terms of we're going to assume that people, like when Emily's talking about people, she's assuming smart money traders, right? What smart money traders could be understanding is that there is a supply zone that has formed a very long time ago, and that the market is coming back into that supply zone, right? So therefore, smart money traders are thinking the market is going to come into that supply zone and sell off nicely, right? But that doesn't mean we set limit orders and let the market, do whatever it wants. So the whole slogan is, because we are reacting or not predicting, we're still able to get in on these trades despite them being perhaps counter trend on the 1 hour or 4 hour, because we react and not predict, and therefore we're able to watch it on the 1 minute time frame and see exactly when that trend changes from a bullish trend to a bearish trend. Then we can get entries from supply zones, right? So that's what smart money is about. That's what smart money is about. It's about seeing when your entry is, even if it's counter trend, enter that market, because you're able to refine your entries down on the 1 minute and 5 minute, and therefore able to identify exactly when the trend changes in the market. So that's exactly what market structure is. So you followed it up by saying, would you be looking for a 4 hour supply zone? So would you wait for a lower time frame breaker structure? Exactly. So say for example, there is a four hours. So say for example, this is a 4 hour. Oh my god, I can't type with a mouse. So 4 hour POI, right? This is your 4 hour POI, right? And you're expecting the market to come into your 4 hour and sell off. What you'll do is you'll zoom in, and when the market is about here, right? Say the market is here, like here, right here, right at that point, like pretend you can't see all of this stuff. You will come onto the live chart and see what's happening, right? Say now what we're looking at. So this is the 4 hour time frame. We then zoom in onto something like a 1 minute time frame. So it's still forming high highs and high lows on the 1 minute time frame. Then we have the market kind of, slow down, form equal highs, maybe then break structure to those equal highs, come down a bit, right? Then what you're thinking now is you need to get entries. You want to get entries off some sort of supply zone, because liquidity has been taken to the upside. Smart money is able to enter those cells. There is a valid supply zone. You want to enter your cells. Therefore, by doing that, right, you've caught that trend change right in, like, exactly when it's happening, which is exactly the whole point of smart money, right? We want to be able to refine all the way down to something like the 1 minute, 5 minute. So you're able to catch that trend change right when it's happening. So that's what I suggest you do. So that's market structure. If it's forming high highs and high lows, doesn't matter if we have that supply zone and we're watching it, right? If we're watching a supply zone like this on something like the 4 hour, and the market starts doing something like this on the 1 minute, that's a valid trade, and I would take that trade. And that's how I would enter the market. So I hope that makes sense, Emily. Let me just look back at chat. No problem, Emily. I hope that's been helpful. Brian says, I have to get going, but I'll watch the recording. Great call. Thank you. Thank you for coming, my friend. I will, of course, have that full recording for you in like an hour. It should be posted. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. But you will still be able to benefit from the rest of the call. Emily, Amir asks, do you look for this on the 1 minute time frame? Doesn't necessarily have to be on the 1 minute. It's not. The thing is, we need to realize when you're trading smart money, there's not a lot of strict rules. There are a couple of rules. Our rule-based system where we look at our higher time frames, look at supply and demand zone, and then enter. But that's like a step-by-step process. Those aren't rules that you have to fulfilled every time, right? It's not like if you don't have a Wyckoff distribution schematic on the 1 minute time frame, don't enter the trade, because then you're going to lose out on how many trades. It's going to be insane. You're going to be very frustrated, right? So you don't want to do that. What instead you want to be doing is you want to be looking at those lower time frames as a whole. That could be your 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, even 15 minutes, at times. Then enter your trade. You remember CAD JPY that we entered last week that was very profitable, ended up running for like 200 pips. If I show you, right, and we go into the 1 hour time frame, right, and this was the sell that we took on CAD JPY that I made a video about. This Wyckoff distribution was on the 10-minute time frame, right? That just should. Oh no, I need to really get. I accidentally ended my subscription for the thing. I really need to change that. But basically, the point is, the distribution schematic was on the 10-minute time frame. That just shows you the lower time frames in quote marks aren't one time frame. It's not the 1 minute time frame. It can be the 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute times, right? So that's what I suggest you do. I hope that makes sense. The higher time frame, the supply zone, the better or no? Not necessarily. In fact, sometimes what you can have is you have supply and demand zones on something like the 4 hour, I mean something like the weekly time frame that just aren't going to be respected just because they're just so far back. So not necessarily. I'd say the sweet spot for supply and demand zones are the 4 hour and daily time frame. I really like daily supply zones. Those are the ones that I like the most, and those are the ones that I like entering trades the most from. So daily demand supply and demand zones, and also 4 hour supply and demand zones. Those are the ones that I like the most. Emily followed up by saying, also, say if price was at a supply zone, would you look for some sort of liquidity to be taken before a break of structure? That's what I look for, but that's just more confluence to your trade. If there's already enough confluence, you have like a nice whack off going on. I mean, the whole point of whack off is liquidity taken. But say you have a little bit like a nice 5 minute POI that you want to get entries from, and there's been enough confluence on those higher time frames, well, then you can enter. That's just risk appetite. No problem. Emily says, sorry for all the questions. I have loads while I'm learning. 100%. I respect it. In fact, it'd be great if more of you could ask questions, because we're then going to be able to record this, right? Post it onto the group, and then more people can benefit. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. Don't be shy. You have nothing to lose, right? And not, in fact, you have a lot to gain from asking those questions. So make sure you ask those questions. Emily, that's so to answer your question, basically, is if you have Wyckoff, that's basically liquidity taken. That's the whole point of Wyckoff, is taking liquidity, entering trades, and so on and so forth. Um, but if there's enough confluence from those high time frames, you don't necessarily need to see the liquidity taken before that break of structure. I hope that makes sense. 4 hours asks, could you please check the overall direction of GBP CAD? Yeah, I'll do that. Can you go over the FX pairs? I'll do that as well. So GBP CAD. Let's start with GBP CAD. GBP CAD. So GBP CAD. Here we go. What do I see on GBP CAD? On the weekly time frame, we've been on a little bit of consolidation. We've now sold off for a nice move to the downside. The market is just formed. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to go through Euro JPY and Euro USD. Let me start with Euro USD because I did promise that I'd go through that. Basically, we've been selling Euro USD for a very long time now. It's coming to a 4 hour POY. A weekly POY. You can see a bit clearer on the daily time frame, right? It sold off from that daily POY, right? Came into a POY up here and then sold off very nicely again. So if I show you on the 5 minute time frame, the market came into our POY that I had here, that I had drawn out, that I said that the market would go to. You can go back in previous calls. It's not coincidence. I don't just have stuff drawn out. They're there from, I called it and then they ended up happening. So that's somewhere on the calls that you can go look at. But basically, we called that we were selling Euro USD. It probably will continue to sell. This impulsive move will probably retrace. I'd say maybe get entries from something like here. That I'd say is a valid place to get entries from. But here could also be a nice place to enter, since what we have is, if we draw in the fib from here to here, it looks like that area. Wait, what did I just do? That was an accident. Forget about that. This area here looks like an area of order block plus Fibonacci. So that's more confidence to your setup. I'd say enter sells on Euro USD, just not for the time being. It's just a bit too. It's not a good price. It's not a discounted price for you to be entering sells at the moment. It's a very bad price to be entering sells. I'd say wait for retracement. Then once you get a retracement, enter off something like your fib numbers or a supply and demand zone. Doesn't necessarily matter. So that's what I'd say on Euro USD. I am bearish. Can you explain the fib bit? 100%. Basically, say for example you have something like this, right? So if I move the chart up a bit on a blank chart, zoom out, we move it here. Say we have something like this where the market impulses down, but then has a bit of this, like a bit of that, right? And the market is now starting to come back, right? If you draw in your fib from the top of that impulse to the bottom of that impulse, right, you will notice that sometimes there are like nice OBs in certain zones of the Fibonacci. So for example, right here, right, and I've drawn this perfectly by accident, but basically you can see that the market has a very nice OB that the market could go to, that is in between the 0.5 and the 0.618. You are then expecting, because we have an OB and a fib number at the same time, that's a nice price for smart money to start opening their orders in their positions, right? This is therefore a place that you could be potentially entering positions and maybe getting smaller, lower time frame entries from POIs like supply and demand zones or something like this. For example, say you had something like that, I'd be entering this setup from here, right? Because there's an OB and there's a Fibonacci number there. Does that make sense, Emily? I hope that makes sense. But basically, you want to be entering at prices that are discounted, and therefore you don't want to enter right at the bottom of that impulse, even if you are long-term bearish on a setup. So I am long-term bearish on Euro USD, but I'm not going to be selling it down here. I want it to retrace up, come into my zones up here, then I can look to sell it and potentially make money doing that, right? So that's what I suggest you do, and that's how you potentially enter Euro USD. If we look back at Euro JPY now, Euro JPY, and see how if we could get any potential entries for Euro JPY. We went through this last week. I remember we went through this last week. I called that the market had come into a POI up here, the daily POI. Was it a weekly POI? I'm not quite sure. Let's just take a look. It looks to me like it was a weekly POI. The market has just pushed out a little bit of consolidation. It was in a consolidating range. Market pushed out of that consolidating range, came into a POI, and then it's starting to sell off. You guys will all remember, I think, a few of you were in that call. A good like 10 of you were in that call where I called Euro JPY and CAD JPY, and I said that I was both going to be bearish on them and we're both going to be potentially getting entries for them. Both of them ended up selling off. You can see if we look back at, if I share the screen, and we go to the watch list for the week and I show you that video on content and we play it, but we skip a bit, so we go somewhere here. So this is when I'm going through CAD JPY. This is still CAD JPY. Let me get rid of this. This is still okay. Here we go. Here's Euro JPY, right? You can all see that I had the market marked out. I was expecting for it to come into my POI and sell off nicely. If I show you what ended up happening, exactly that ended up happening. The market came into our POI and sold off very nicely, right? Call me a genius, but I think I called that. I called it, and there's proof I called it. So I called CAD JPY and I called Euro JPY, and I called gold. You know, but yeah, that's Euro JPY. Probably will continue to sell off. I'd say just wait for it. It looks to me that there could be some whack of distribution action going on. So wait maybe for it to break structure below lows like here. If it does that very nice, like then you could potentially get entries here to take the market lower. But for CAD JPY and Euro JPY, I did call them. I did say that they would sell off. CAD JPY, I think the thing is with the entries is just the stop losses and getting your entries right. We are generally, at least for you guys, I think you are generally correct in direction. It's just your entries that are wrong half of the time. So that's what I suggest you do. I feel like the calls when you say to enter isn't clear for us at the moment. I mean, so okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I describe it. So if I show you on the Launch Plus link, we say we don't specify entry prices. So we don't specify entry prices. I don't like to, yeah, I understand it in signals. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not signals. That's why I don't want to say enter at a certain price. I say, this is my general direction. Here are potential entries you could get. So I say something like this. I say, here's a potential entry. You could potentially wait for the market to come there and you could potentially sell, right? I'm saying potential a lot because, I don't want to, I'm not a signal provider. You need to have more legal documentation and shit to be a signal provider, right? So I'm not a signal provider. I'm just, I share what I'm entering the market and share my own trade ideas and see what I potentially think could happen in the market, right? So that's what I do. And I can't say anything else. I can't say everyone, like I can't do, here's the entry price, here's the stop loss, here's the take profit, everyone enter alongside me right now. Like I can't really say that. So that's why I say enter at this certain price. If you like enter in this area, I say, rather than a certain price, right? So for Euro JPY, that certain area would be here. So this would be your potential area. Um, yeah, I understand. If any of you, I hope, because I don't want to feel like I'm ripping you guys off. You've come for education. I think I provided, pretty adequate education. At least, from now on, we will be doing that because I've missed a couple calls. But let me know. Is the education good enough or not? Just let me know in chat. Be brutally honest. If it's bad, let me know and I can change it. Like in terms of the calls, are they good enough? Are they long enough? in terms of the trade ideas. If you'd like anything changed, let me know in private chat. Just come to private chat. You all have me added on Discord. If I show you, all you have to do to add me on Discord is come to any of these channels, go to Mahad Effects, you'll find me, and then just add me. That's all you have to do. So literally, that's all you do, and then you should be able to add me. But let me know if the education is bad, because I will change it, and I will improve it if everyone thinks it's if it's not adequate. Let me know. I'm not getting anything in chat, so I'm assuming it's all good for the time being. But let me know, and I will definitely change a couple of things to make the education experience better. Because this is an experience. We are helping. We want to help you grow. Like, we don't want it to be a signal provider. And we don't really care about you, but we want you to. We want you to come on these calls, unmute. We hear your voice, see what's good. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Dan says it would be so nice to see future setups more, so prices could come into potential future OBs within the next couple of days to look out for. I like that you are not taking this the wrong way, because I don't mean it in a bad way at all. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I know I don't send through a lot of setups. So what I do is I prefer quality over quantity, right? I like to send through 1 to 5 setups a week, right? So for example, this week we had gold, we had GU, we had GJ, we had CAD JPY, so we had 4, right? But then those setups will end up running. So for Euro JPY, I ended up running for 80 pips if you entered that. Is CAD JPY probably similar. Gold way more than that, right? So that's what I like to do. And if you'd like it, I will definitely start looking at the charts more if you want me to, just to see if there are any potential entries. But what I'll do is I'll stay in touch in the trade ideas section that everyone can post in a bit more, so that I can see what you guys are sending through and maybe help you and correct you if I see if there are any corrections that I can make to your trade ideas. I think that will help you guys out a bit more. Everything is good for me. I just need to identify stop loss and take profit by following the rules of my entry. Yeah, I'll do that. I hope I can help as well. Emily asks, what pairs do you trade? I trade the major pairs. So you'll notice I trade. So for Euro JPY, I didn't enter, and CAD JPY, I didn't enter, and I said that I wouldn't enter in the group, right? Because they're minor pairs. But I'll send them out. If you want to enter, you can enter. But for me, they're not, worthy. But what I do enter is Euro USD, Gold, GU, GJ. Those pairs I really like. Um, I really do like those pairs, just because they're most liquid, and therefore it just makes logical sense. The most liquid pairs are going to be the pairs that smart money is most involved in. Therefore, the pairs where the most smart money setups are going to be forming, right? So it just makes logical sense to trade the major pairs rather than those minor pairs, right? So that's what I like to do, and that's what I like to trade. So I like trading those golds, the GUs of the world, the Euro USDs, the AUs, the NUs, the NUs and AU I don't really trade, because they move in the Asian session, and I'm asleep then, and I don't really like holding trades over while I sleep. I mean, who does? It's not a great experience. Um, so yeah, I don't really like holding trades over the weekend, over the overnight, but I do like holding trades on GU, GJ, and all of those other pairs. Najee asks, so if price is dropping and has a small up candle and drops more, that area would be an order block? Yes, that would be an order block that we could potentially enter from. So it'd be literally what I was talking about below. If I above here in that Fibonacci zone, I don't know if I deleted it or not. But basically, I was talking about, yeah, I deleted it, it looks like. I was talking about we had an order block that the market could form and then sell off from, right? So that's what we were talking about, and that's how we could potentially enter the market, right? Pendra says, can you give an example of an OB that isn't quite at the top or bottom of a range, one that maybe more movement? Not quite sure what that means. Okay. You're saying, okay, say for example, you have something like this. So is this what you are asking? So this would be an OB that forms right at the bottom, right at the top of a range, comes back and sells off, right? So that's the top of the range. So you're saying something like this. Say we have something like this happen, right? Where the market sells off, forms an OB here, right? And then comes into that OB and sells off some more. It's not in the middle. It's like in the middle of the range rather than the top of the range. Is that what you mean, Apendra? If that's what you mean, let me know. There are probably loads and loads of setups like that I can find you. So is this like what you mean by mid movement? Is this rather than this? Because here we're entering right at the top, but here it's like a mid movement OB that has formed, that's been respected. Is that what you mean? Let me know if that's what you mean. Let me just get a yes or no, so then I can, um, what I'm saying, try get you a setup that you have that type of thing happen. But if that's what you mean, there are multiple setups like that in the market that you could potentially enter from, where we have the market form that mid movement would be, and then sell off. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but there are many. If you think about it, most are mid movement OB. So if I show you, right, right, if we get an entry and we look at CAD-JPY, right, and we look at the 5 minute time frame from that 5 minute OB. This is technically right here. This OB here, our supply zone, is technically a mid movement OB, right? Because technically there is another OB up here that the market could have went to and then sold off from, but the market chose to come to this one rather than this one up here. So that's a mid movement OB that the market respected. They are respected. I suggest they are respected. You could get entries from that. iPhone asks, after you master smart money concepts, you see yourself more profitable? I mean, you experienced before and after you use it. Yeah. You once you get into once you get properly into it and you start experiencing some success, you will see the difference. Your win rate will increase, your risk will increase, everything will get better once you get good. But the beginning with smart money is a sludge, because you'll get stopped out of so many trades because you're sacrificing your trade for like risk rewards that are crazy, because you see on Google everyone showing and flexing their 1 to 150 setups. So it's like, you're thinking, I need to get a 1 to 150 setup as well, and therefore you're sacrificing your trades just so you can get those really high and really um, unrealistic risk rewards, right? So that's smart money is a sludge at first, but once you get into it, it really gets good. Dan says, could CAD-JPY potentially go higher? Beginning of next week, there is another, it will be a little higher, where it is, if you look left of the 15-minute and hour is broken. Okay, let's take a look. 15-minute for CAD-JPY. Maybe if we go higher, it'd probably just be because of that daily POI, but I don't think we are going to go any higher for CAD-JPY. I think we are really nice. We are just going to sell off nicely now, because we've had our break of structure taking out equal highs. And so the market has formed equal highs. So if I show you, right, here we go. There are equal highs right here that the market formed. The market took out those equal highs to the upside, is now distributing before a potential sell-off. So this is a very, very nice setup on CAD-JPY. So there is, if it goes any higher, it's probably just because of that daily time frame, right? Yeah. If you're looking at the daily, 100%, I agree with you. So if it goes any higher, I think CAD-JPY. So Dan says, I think CAD-JPY is due to have a big drop, but I do think it has room to go higher before dropping. If it has any room to go higher, it's probably just because of that daily POI. But I think now, because we've taken out equal highs, formed a nice distribution on the daily, on the weekly, on the 5-minute time frame, right? I think now is just amazing. It looks very nice to re-enter in the market. What I'd say is, now just because it has broken structure below these lows here, I'd wait for a retracement. So Amir, to answer your question, you're saying where would you re-enter the market? I'd say wait for the market to take out these equal lows here, then wait for the market to come into something like this. This looks like a nice OB that the market could go to and sell off from further. So that would be a re-entry opportunity that you don't want to miss, right? But what could happen is the market could form another OB that's a bit clearer. So I'm not saying this is your potential, your entry that you should get. I'd say just watch, see what's happening, and I'll keep a lookout for you guys as well. For anyone that wants to enter, I won't be entering CAD-JPY because it's a minor pair, and I just don't like the way they move. They are very slow to move. Remember, CAD-CHF posted, and it was consolidating for 2 weeks. So we don't want that type of thing to happen. And that's why I just don't like trading minor pairs. I much rather prefer major pairs that move quickly and are have the liquidity on their side to be able to open those positions. Where are you looking to TP? I'd say final take profits are all the way down here, because remember, we are on a 4-hour distribution, and we are at the UTAD of that 4-hour distribution. Therefore, we're expecting the market to come and break structure to the downside. Right, so you need to understand that our final targets are probably going to go all the way down here. All right, so for potential 1 to 82 or so trade, where we are catching 400 pips. That would be your final take profits. Where could you take profits if you're looking to scalp? I'd say, uh, where would I say? I'd say here looks like a nice POI that the market could react to. Where else? Here looks like another POI that the market could react to nicely here as well. So those are all, maybe set your stop loss to break even here, then get, partials here, take half your position off that, let the rest ride at like stop loss in profit or something. That's how I would risk my position, risk manage my position on CAD JPY, and that's how I would be looking to enter. But I am really looking to take the market lower. There is a very nice bullish OB waiting at the bottom. Let's take a look. Let me just get rid of this stuff that I just put on the chart. So let's go on something like the 2 hour if it's clear. Yeah, oh my god, I didn't even see this. This is a very, very nice OB. This is a nice OB that the market could go to as well. So this is even more confidence to our setup, right? The market could come to that OB there, and take us all the way down there. So that could be your final profits, take profits. But that's it for CAD JPY. Very simple setup. I mean, I say that for like every trade, very simple setup. It's not simple at all, but it does look like a setup that could pay off nicely. So that's what I'm thinking for CAD JPY. Euro JPY, I'm also bearish on. Gold, I'm also bearish on. GU, I'm also bearish on. GJ, I'm also bearish on. So yeah, that's literally it. We are gonna have to wrap this one up in a bit because we are. Iznika asks, "Can I look at Bitcoin?" I don't trade Bitcoin, but I will look at it quickly. Bitcoin USD. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you guys will remember. In the last call as well. I said that it would come to an OB here and then really go higher. Ended up doing exactly that. So this was our OB, came to that OB and went really high. It stopped us out. So everyone did get stop hunted out of the trades there, but um, it looks like it looks like it did respect the technicals for a bit, but then stop everyone out, take that liquidity, and then go higher. This is a classic example of stop hunting, classic example of why you don't trade support resistance, right? I take Bitcoin bullish. I just don't want to enter at the moment just because of everything I went through. I went through last call. I said that I don't want to because the whole market is going to crash, and then I'll start piling money in. For the time being, I'm just not gonna enter any trades using crypto because I don't want to get caught in that crash because that's how you over leverage, and especially if you're using leverage on a trade, that's where you really get fucked. So I'm not trying to do that. Instead, I'll just let the market do what it needs to do, and then I'll enter later on. But yeah, that's all for Bitcoin. Yeah, hodl. If you want to hodl, it's gonna go higher, but for the time, it could crash before it goes high, is what I'm saying. But that's it for today, boys. I have a little bit of a situation I need to take care of. I hope you've all been able to benefit from this call. I will send out these charts that I've gone through now. So CAD JPY, Euro JPY, Gold, I also sent through. So thank you all for coming. A nice message to end off would really, go a long way. Thank you all for coming. As I've said already, I'm starting. When you talk for 2 hours straight, it really not 2 hours, like an hour straight. Your voice box starts to get a bit, can't even think straight now. But basically, everyone, I'll thank you all for coming. This call was recorded, so it will be posted in the group chat in a bit. So yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow, whenever else we have a call. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.